Today on TWiP Apps, we are reminded that some of the most basic image editing functions are missing from Photos for iOS, and learn how to add them back in. For all the dynamic, colorful, exciting, and even sexy photo apps that you can put on your iOS device today, one thing is consistently lacking: basic functionality. The ability to look up EXIF data, view a histogram, add a watermark, or even scale an image is non-existent in Photos for iOS. The app collection PhotoExtensions by DigiGuys aims to correct that. A series of mini apps acting as share extensions allow you to do all this and more, adding some of the base functionality to Photos for iOS that you've been looking for. This is TWiP Apps. Welcome back to another episode of TWiP Apps. I'm your host, Photo Joseph, and today my guest is Mr. Aldo Resize with the company DigiGuys Inc., and he's here to show us his product, which is actually a collection of products called PhotoExtensions. Now, PhotoExtensions are a series of mini apps, if you will, that are designed to work with photo apps on your iOS device. Aldo, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me here.
It's great to have you. So before we get into the product itself, let's hear a little bit about the company behind it, DigiGuys Inc. How many guys are there in this DigiGuys company?
So we have 10 guys in DigiGuys.
10 guys. All right, good.
Yes.
And 10 guys there, and where are you based? San Francisco, I think you said?
Yeah, we're in San Francisco, California.
Okay, very cool. And how long have you been in business?
We've been in business for about 10 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this is
yeah.
probably not your first app.
No. We've done a lot of technology.
Okay, cool. Give me just an idea of what you've done. Anything else I might know?
So we mostly do internal apps for companies, so they're not public. But about 10 years ago, we used to do websites. And now, because apps are popular, we are doing apps now.
Okay, very cool. Awesome. So you've got a pretty good long history of apps on there. You're developing on iOS, of course, as this is. Now, this obviously, what you're showing us is very iOS specific because it is because it's for photos on iOS. Do you have any Android apps or any other platform apps out there?
No, we don't. No.
Okay.
Actually, we have developed all these apps for internal companies and for the clients. So this is the first apps that are our apps that we have developed and is for our users. So we are really excited about them.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. So the app collection of apps are called PhotoExtensions. Give us an idea, just a high-level overview of what these are. Obviously, we're going to get into a demo in a little bit, but what are these? What do they do? And if you want to tell us why you made them, even what inspired you to make these apps?
Yeah, let me tell you the story a little bit of how all this came about.
Okay.
So in 2015, I went to the Caribbean for vacation, and I went to Aruba and St. Martin, and I carried all my technology with me. I carried my MacBook Pro, my 15-inch MacBook Pro, it was heavy, and I carry my iPad Air 2, my Sony camera, and my GoPro.
Okay.
And right away when I got to the vacation, I was just tired carrying the MacBook Pro around. It was heavy, and it reminded me of work. So I put it in a box, and I shipped it back to San Francisco.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah. So I was left with just my iPad Air 2, my camera, my Sony camera, my GoPro. And I was wondering if I could really use my iPad Pro for everything I wanted it. So during the vacation, I was taking a lot of photos. And then I wanted to back them up, and I wanted to share them, and I wanted to work with the photos. So I figured out that the Sony camera and the GoPro both have Wi-Fi on it. And I was able to transfer the photos from the cameras to the iPad through Wi-Fi without needing to have a cable. And that was great. And in the iPad, all the photos appear immediately in Apple Photos. And that's also great. All my photos were there. I could see them. But there was really little I could do with them because Apple Photos doesn't have a lot of functionality.
Tell me about
for
it.
example, I couldn't see the EXIF information.
Right.
I couldn't see the metadata. I couldn't see a histogram. I couldn't see even the GPS location. I could not even make a copy of a photo. So I was really frustrated. And out of this frustration is where the idea of creating extensions came all about.
Yeah, this is one of the promises of Photos app, both on iOS and on macOS. The idea that developers like yourselves can build in the functionality that Apple did not. And that was from the beginning, that was the promise and that was the idea. And of course, in the very beginning, there wasn't a whole lot of it, as in 2015 you found. There was just hardly anything out to use. These days, of course, there's a lot more apps that are available, but even a lot of the apps aren't really utilizing the extensions architecture to its full potential, I think. And I think a lot of apps that we see.
A little bit about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a lot of the apps that we see, you'll have a really great app, but then its photo extensions piece is very small. It only has a couple of the features. Mm-hmm. So yeah, tell me what you wanted to say about that.
Yeah, so extensions are interesting. Apple released iOS 8 around late 2014, early 2015, and they released this new technology called extensions. Very few people knew about this technology in that time, and we didn't want to build a whole Apple Photos app. We needed something very quick because I really wanted to see the effects information of a photo. So we decided to, instead of building an entire app, we'll just build small extensions. Now, Apple requires us that all the extensions might be simple, they might be small, and they only can do one thing. So that's a requirement from Apple. So extensions must be simple.
Now, who defines what simple is?
I know. So you kind of have to play around. So we follow the guidelines from Apple, and we try to make them narrow focus. So each extension does only one task, and I guess that's objective. You don't want an extension that does many things.
I think that there's plenty of extensions out today that do a lot more than one thing. So are they?
I agree with you 100%. But I think if you follow the Apple guidelines, I'm telling you, just do one thing.
I never heard that before. That's interesting. Cool. Okay. Well, learn something every day. Alrighty, so that's why you developed a series of apps instead of just one app that does everything.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Alrighty, well, why don't we take a look at the app? Let's just jump into it.
Oh, sure. Give me one sec here. So we have 8 extensions right now,
and what are what phone are you running on, just so people know?
I'm running an iPhone 6X Plus.
6S Plus, because this is the latest and greatest iPhone.
Yes, that's good. And but the extensions also run in the iPad, because originally when we developed them, I was using my iPad to manage all my photos. So I wanted the extensions to work in the iPad.
Okay, and are they scaled for iPad, or is it just their iPhone size that just zoom in on the iPad?
They will actually, because of extensions, they will appear as a floating window in the middle of Apple Photos. So you'll see Apple Photos in the background, and on the top, it will appear the extension.
Okay, alrighty, great.
Good.
Give us a tour. What have we got?
Great, so we have 8 extensions. We have Photo Extension FX, Photo Extension Info, Copy, let you make a copy of a photo, Watermark, to make a watermark in a photo, also resize a photo, a GPS to view the location of a photo, and no GPS to remove the GPS of a photo. And the latest extension we just added is Photo Extension Histogram, that allows you to see a histogram, but we go beyond just showing the histogram. We actually explain what a histogram means.
Nice.
So I'll get into that when I give you the demo.
Okay, great.
So let me show you, let me show you a really fun one. Here are other extensions. Now, extensions, they all have a standalone app, which actually is just to explain the user how to install the extensions. Extensions have to be manually be activated to be used in Apple Photos. So here, for example, in Photo Extension Info, we have we explain here how to activate it. So you see the first option is Add Extension. Here I tap there, and I can have a step-by-step explanation of how to install and activate the extension in Apple Photos.
Okay, got it.
And on the second option, we actually explain how the extension actually works. But I'll give you a demo of the extension.
Okay, yeah, nice. So there's a little tutorial built into each one.
That's good. Also here you have a link for our Facebook page and to our other apps, and you can also request support and hopefully rate our app and give us 5 stars. So now let me jump into Apple Photos and give you a demo of the extension inside Apple Photos.
Perfect.
So I'm going to open Apple Photos here, and I'm going to open the camera roll. And here I have my photos. So I'm going to select a photo. I'm going to pick up the first one. These are the photos from my vacation in the Caribbean.
From that one that inspired it all?
Exactly.
Nice.
So I'm going to tap in the first photo. And now to call an extension, what you need to do is tap the share button, which is on the bottom left corner. So I tap here and I get all the share options.
Oh, it's via share. This isn't an edit extension. This is a sharing extension.
Actually, we made extensions to work in both, in the action extension and on the edit extension. So I can show them in both.
Interesting. Okay.
So here we have all our extensions. They're listed right here on the bottom. So I'm going to show you the info. And the info, the focus of the info extension was for casual photographers. So we wanted to give the impression of an LCD-like screen from like a camera and show very basic and very quickly information that a photographer might want to know. The camera, the aperture, the shutter speed, the ISO, and the focal length. I think that's a very important values that we want to show right away. And also if the flash was used and the white balance and so on. Now, if we tap on the bottom right corner, we can actually get more information. And as a casual photographer, a photographer that is starting to do photography, I think there's three values that are really important, which is the aperture, the shutter speed, and the ISO. So we created this diagram so a casual photographer could understand how these numbers relate to each other and the photography.
That's really cool. A little bit of education in there. I like that. Very nice.
Yeah. We thought it was going to be very, very helpful. Then we also show a bunch of metadata information about the photo and so on. If there's GPS location, we also show the GPS location. An interesting feature, we show the dominant colors of the photo in RGB and X numbers. So these are the dominant colors. Maybe graphic artists might need these numbers to work with the photo.
That's cool. Can you export those numbers? Or access them?
No. But I think we can copy them. Yeah, we can copy them and select them.
There you go. Perfect. Nice.
Okay.
That's really cool.
And here, if this photo had GPS information, it will show the altitude, longitude, and also will show you the address, and you'll be able to actually jump to Apple Photos to see the location on the map. Now, one important feature on the bottom, we actually ask the users if they want more metadata to be shown on the app. So we have a link here that when they tap, they can send us an email.
Nice. How many features have come in that way? How many requests have come in that you've actually turned into features?
Several.
Awesome.
I think one of the order of the order was very important for the photographers. So the order of the items has been a feature. They wanted, for example, the aperture and the speed and the ISO on the top. So the order was one of the options.
Okay.
Also the count of pictures a camera has been taken. That was another request. And so on. So the community has been really involved, and that's just so awesome.
Yeah, that's really great.
Really
Getting your customers involved that way is good. It certainly makes the users feel like they're a part of the app and that they know that they can communicate with you when they have something that they want from it. That's nice to see.
Yes, it's been awesome. Also, you know what we noticed? We noticed that in Facebook, in photography pages and groups on Facebook, people like to post the basic information of a photo, but they actually type it on the post. So we created this option to copy, and here they can actually copy the camera make, the aperture, the speed, the ISO, and the focal length, and the clipboard, so that then they can easily paste it in Facebook, on Twitter, or something like that.
Very good.
So that's the photo extension info. Another extension I wanted to show you is the histogram. This is our latest extension. I think this is really interesting and really useful for photographers that really want to understand their photo and how to be a better photographer. Let me show you this picture here. So again, I tap on the share option, and then I go ahead and I look for histogram, and it's right here, and I tap in histogram. And this extension was really interesting to make because we had to learn everything about histogram and the math behind the graph. So it's really, really interesting. We did a lot of research to make it happen. So we not only show the histogram, but we also explain what a histogram means for the photographer. So the photographer can truly understand the histogram and hopefully help the photographer to be a better photographer. So we show the tonality histogram first, but then if we swipe, then we can see the RGB histogram. And again, here we have an explanation of what it means. Now the next one is the luminosity histogram, and this is an interesting histogram. We did a lot of research about it. I guess green, the color green, absorbs more light. And so this histogram is adjusted for the color green that absorb more light. So this is a real graph compared to the tonality. And that is interesting if you're taking pictures with a lot of green on it.
That is interesting. I don't think I knew that.
Oh, yeah, we had to learn all this stuff. It was really interesting, the learning process.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we wanted to really help the photographer, right? So what is a perfect histogram? Is there a perfect histogram? And there's not. It depends on the photo and so on. But we wanted to give an idea of the user through this red line here. What could be a perfect histogram, a well-balanced histogram? And here we explain how that could be achieved. And so this picture, as you can see, is well balanced. It has not too many darks, not too many lights. It's kind of right in the middle. Here, for example, we can show if a picture is underexposed. So for example, if this graph was shifted to the left, the photography could be too dark or be underexposed. And again, if the graph will be shifted to the right, could be too light or could be overexposed. But maybe not. Maybe the photo has a lot of light because it's in the snow, so it wouldn't be overexposed. So that's up to the photographer.
Yeah, but
to
it's
decide.
good information, and that definitely helps to understand the whole idea of looking at a histogram. It's not just these are shadows, these are highlights, but this might be too much highlights, this might be too much shadows. I like it. I think that's really helpful. I'm sure a lot of people are able to learn from that. That's nice.
Great. Thank you. So that's that extension, the histogram extension.
Okay.
And let me go back now and just I'm going to show you from a different camera. Let's pick up this here. Another extension we have that is very important. People, when they post pictures in photography groups in Facebook and so on, sometimes they want to watermark their pictures. So we created a mark as a watermark, and here they can do it. So we did it so the user can tap here and basically type anything they want, but also we did a preset messages. So here we have all these preset messages that they could choose from. An important preset that we just added is the preset that it will actually add the camera make, the aperture, the shutter speed, the ISO, and the focal length. So if you're a photographer and you want to share that information with other photographers, you could watermark your photo with that information too.
Nice. And now I'm assuming you can edit these to say whatever you want. If you start with one of the presets, like that camera setting one, could you then also include copyright, your name, year, and then all that info? Okay, great.
Yes, you can add it. And also we added these quick symbols here in the second line, the copyright, the TM symbol, the star, and the circle.
Good.
You can also change the font. So you can pick from any of these fonts.
Okay.
And also change the size. And first of all, let me change the color. As you can see, the color is a little too light. I can't see it. So let me remove the transparency. And then I can pick from the dominant colors of this photo. So it will blend better.
Nice.
So the watermark will blend better with the photo. But let me pick up a little darker. But you know what? I don't like any of these. They really blend too much. So let me just pick just a gray tone. That's better.
Okay.
And then I can go back, and then here I can select the position, and I will leave it in that corner. I think it's a good corner.
Can you can you drag the text on the screen around to position it where you want, or is it only those corners or?
It's only the corners. So we decided to make it very easy for the user to just pick the standard corners.
Okay.
And also for example, do not copy, that will go like in the side in an angle.
Okay.
So that would be that one right there.
Oh, I see. There you go. All right.
But this is here, and we can move to different corners.
Okay.
So now let's make a little bigger, and I can do point by point or just very quickly make it a little bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I feel like I'm done with my watermark, I tap on done, and this will actually make a copy of the photo in your camera roll.
Sure.
So your original photo was untouched.
Of course. Great. Now,
done.
once you've made your own copyright symbol in there, copyright explanation, you can save that as a preset, or?
Well, it will stay there. Actually, so if I open it again, whatever I stopped before will stay there.
Okay, but what about making, if I wanted to have a couple of them, like maybe I want to have one that just says copyright and then one that has my name and, I don't know, 2 or 3 different ones instead of having to rebuild it each time. Can I call up those other presets, my own custom presets?
That's a great feature, and I think we'll add it to our to-do list.
There you go. All right, sounds good.
Let me show you another extension here. Let me pick a different photo. Let's pick up this one here. The other extension I wanted to show you is the Resize. So
that's
Resize,
handy. That's something I have needed before in the resizing apps. The only one I ever found just crashed and never actually worked, or it made an image that wasn't anywhere near the size that I told it to. So I'm glad to see this.
So, all the resizes that we found on Apple Photos, you use your finger, right, to resize, but that's not as exact. And I thought, well, photographers sometimes need to be very exact in the size that they want to do it. So this was a way to do it, pixel by pixel or percentage by percentage. So the first option we offer is to do it by percentage, and we show the original size and the new size on the bottom of the screen. If you see where it says new size. Yep. Then we can, if we don't want to do it by percentage, we just go to the next page. And here we can do it pixel by pixel. Now this is will keep the constraint. So we'll actually make sure that the picture ratio is always kept.
Of course.
While we are resizing the photo. Just in case, we added the option to actually resize the width or the height separately. But we're not sure if people will really use it, but we decided to do it anyway.
It's nice to have. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have an image that for some reason came in distorted and you want to fix it.
Yeah.
So, good. I like it.
Or we might need to squeeze it a little bit from some special reason. We squeeze it a little bit.
Make me look a little thinner. I think that might be
exactly. We all need that, I guess. And the other one, we just picked up standard sizes. So these are preset standard sizes. So it's VGA, XVGA, 480p, 720p, 1080p, iPhone 5 and SE, iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus, and iPad Air 2.
Now I see it says that it might be cropped. So you're going to punch into the image to fill the pixels. This isn't a maximum width and height.
Yeah. So we'll take the center and then something might get cropped.
Cropped off top or bottom, left or right. Yep, sure. Yeah. That makes sense.
So as you can see, and again, if I pick up this size here and I click done, I tap and done, a copy will be made in my camera roll. So the original picture, again, is untouched.
Mm-hmm. Good. Here's just another suggestion then. Since it's cropping it, users might have a need or a want to make an image, the size of your iPad screen, like you have in there as a preset, but not crop it. So the ability to export maximum width, maximum height, so that it fits within the screen, but then it just is empty on the, it's that width or it's that height. But it may not be the width or the height. The opposite may not match. But that's fine. At least it fills the screen, and of course you're not cropping the image, because sometimes, most of the time, people don't want their image cropped. If they just
You're right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. We definitely will consider that. Yeah, cool. Definitely. So you can see so far the old extensions I'm showing you, they do only one thing, and they do it well. And that's the whole point. And that's why you have so many extensions, to do only one task. And
I like these are all so far. Everything we've seen is very utilitarian. These aren't creative effects. We're not trying to make the picture prettier or anything like that. This is all about just basic data. We need the EXIF data. We need that histogram. We need that resizing. And that's great because I think, that's not necessarily sexy, but it's necessary. People need these type of tools, and I haven't really seen much out there. Most people are going to focus on the stuff that's a bit more fun and exciting. This maybe is not the funnest thing in the world, but it definitely is something. It's the kind of tools that people need. So I'm glad to see these. These are great.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's see. What else you got in there?
Okay, so let me show you a fun one. Okay, so if we go back to 2015, in Apple Photos, you couldn't make a copy of a photo. And that is really frustrating because sometimes you don't want to attach the original photo, right?
Of course.
So one feature we added, it was the ability to make a quick copy of a photo. So very quickly, I have the option to make an original copy, to make it 50% smaller, 75, or to get a thumbnail.
Okay.
And
now
again,
there is the ability to duplicate now. I'm looking at it now.
Yes.
So that's been added. Okay. But that is, I believe, going to, it doesn't give you any sizing options. So you've got the ability to change the sizing at the time.
Yes.
Okay.
But you can imagine, in 2015, I was like, how this is possible? I need to make a copy of a photo.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, if we make a copy, it will obviously make a copy and will not touch the original one.
Okay.
And so we've seen the photo extension effects, the info, we've seen the watermark, the resize, we've seen the histogram. If you want, I can show you the FX. The FX is very focused for more like professional photographers. It's similar to the info, but just quicker. Just get to the information. Let's see it. So I'm going to open this picture was taken with a Canon camera. And here I'm selecting the FX. And you can see right away that here I just see all the metadata. Just
okay, so this is the EXIF data. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're seeing everything in there. So this is the same information that's in the info one.
Yes, laid out it's the same, but without the guides, without the without all the extra stuff.
Okay.
This is more for like just give me the information. I want to see it really quickly.
Got it.
Also, the user can copy all the data in the clipboard.
Okay. Nice.
So very simple, very much to the point. Just give me the EXIF information.
Great.
And that's basically it.
Okay. Very good. Just very quickly, although I know I said in the beginning I was surprised that they were in the share extensions and not as editing extensions, but now of course I see why. These really aren't necessarily editing tools. These are, not technically sharing tools, but that really is where they belong. But you said that you can access them from within the edit menu. So if you were to make a change in the edit menu, typically one of the advantages of the edit menu is that when you make a change to the image, it's not permanent. You can always revert it, but it doesn't look like, other than the watermark, which obviously is going to save as anyway, it's not making permanent changes to that image. If it's got to make a change, it's going to save a new copy. So if you're using the edit extension, for example, for watermark, is that going to leave that one image in place without making a new one, but have a removable watermark on it? Or does it will actually
make a new one.
It will make a new one.
So it follows the same idea.
Okay. So is there any advantage or disadvantage to going one way or the other?
There is an advantage, and I'll tell you this is very interesting. So when we were developing the extensions, we discovered that Apple allows very little memory for the action extensions, the extensions that appear on the bottom.
Okay.
And we're working with photos, and some photos might be very large. But Apple does allow more memory to the edit mode in Apple Photos. So we actually have to check the size of every photo when we load it in an action extension. And if it's too big, we have to tell the user, please open this photo in edit extension.
Interesting.
So do
you know offhand is there a specific size or resolution once you get past 16 megapixel or something that you need to do that?
I will think over 12 megapixels. Usually we will pop up alert and tell the user, please open an edit extension.
So that's going to be most cameras are shooting over 12 megapixels. So that's going to be most pictures that come in.
So when we designed this, put yourself back in 2015, the iPhone had only 8 megapixels and the GoPro was fine. and so on. So everything was kind of fine. So we have discovered this over time.
Okay. And that hasn't changed as the iOS devices have gotten more powerful, as the iOS itself has updated, that memory allocation to the share extensions hasn't gotten bigger?
It hasn't, and it's frustrating. I wish Apple will give them more, because now we have devices with more memory. Will be great, but it hasn't happened yet.
Interesting. Okay. Well, good to know. All righty. Was there any other extensions you wanted to look at?
No, I think that's good enough.
Okay, great. Well, very good. Thank you so much for showing us that. That's pretty cool. There's obviously a lot of very good utilities in there. And again, as I said, this is very utilitarian. This isn't, we're not adding reflections and shadows and changing highlights. This is all about the raw data of the picture, which, again, may not be the sexiest thing, but it's definitely useful. It's the kind of thing that people need to have. So we didn't talk about the price in the beginning. What is the price of this extension?
Sure. So the PhotoExtension FX and the PhotoExtension Info are $199.
Okay.
And the rest of the extensions are just 99 cents. But we have two bundles. We have a professional bundle, which is PhotoExtension Pro.
Okay.
That includes the FX and the Watermark, the Resize, and the Histogram.
Okay.
And then we have PhotoExtension 2, which is more for the casual photographer. And the bundles cost $399. So you basically get one extension for free with the bundle.
Got it. Okay, great. Very good. Thank you for that. So definitely affordable, as most iOS apps certainly are. Always nice to see. All right. Well, thank you very much. So that's our demo, and that's pretty much our show. So we got a couple of things to wrap up before we kick you off the air here. Okay. First one is the guest app pick. As is tradition on the show, we always ask our guests to pick one of their favorite apps for their either iOS device or Android, or of course for their computer. And obviously the only caveat is you can't pick your own app. So anything outside of your own. What is your favorite app to use that isn't your own?
So I really like the Camera Plus, camera with a plus sign on the end.
Yep.
And I really like their filter called Clarity. And I use it a lot. I use it all the time for all the pictures I post. So I really like their app. It's great.
Cool. And now that, if I'm thinking of the same Camera Plus, because I know there's a few of them that are called Camera Plus and they're different plus symbols or the word plus and so on. The one that I'm thinking about, there's a labs section to it and you get into a Clarity Pro. Is that the one?
Yes, that's the one, exactly.
And the Clarity Pro is where it's really at. That's where you can adjust it and make it look super nice.
Yes. Exactly.
All right, good. Well, we'll put a link to that in the show notes, of course, so anybody listening who wants to check out which version of Camera Plus it is that Aldo is talking about, you can check that in the show notes. All right, well, that does bring us to the end of the guest portion of our show. So, Aldo, tell us, where can our users, our listeners, our viewers find you on the interwebs, and where can they find your apps?
Okay, so we have a Facebook page, and it's called facebook.com/PhotoExtensions.
Great.
And that's just a great community. You have links for the apps and example how to use the apps and so on. And you can also go to the App Store and search for PhotoExtension FX or PhotoExtension Info and so on, and get to the app itself. If you search for my company name, actually you'll get all the apps in the Apple App Store. So if you search for DigiGuys Inc., then you'll get all the apps there.
Okay, that's probably the easier way, because I would imagine searching just Photo Extension, you're going to find a lot of things that are Photo Extensions.
You're right.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. All right, well, thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate you sharing your app with us. It's been it's been a great tour of your software. So thank you very much, and we will see you another time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Take care, Aldo.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, so there you have it, folks. That is Photo Extensions by DigiGuys, Aldo's cool app in there. So thank you so much for that, for giving us that tour. We are, again, looking at an app here or a series of apps that is not about making your pictures pretty, about adding filters, about making effects. This is utilitarian. This is the kind of thing that you may not think, oh, this is really fun and cool, I got to have that. But you know what? You kind of need it. There are those times where you need to resize a photo. You want to add a watermark. You just need to get that EXIF data that isn't being revealed by Photos app itself. So very, very useful tools for sure. Very utilitarian, but very useful. I certainly would recommend that everybody gets the chance to check these things out. I think it's going to be worth your time. So with that, we are going to wrap up this show. That brings us to the end of another episode of TWiP Apps. I'm your host, Photo Joseph. You can find me online, Photo Joseph, on all the socials, or of course at my website, photoapps.expert. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook and to visit our website at thisweekinphoto.com, where you can sign up for our email list to be notified of all new episodes and to get exclusive subscriber bonuses. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you're watching on our website, you can subscribe to the show using the subscribe box on this page. If you have feedback, suggestions, or comments about the show, you can do that on the website as well. Reach out to me directly by clicking on the contact form button on the webpage. That's a great way to reach out, tell us what you think, tell us what you want to see next. And of course, if you are a developer, we want to have you on the show as well. I want to see your app. So if you've got something worth showing, this is Android, iOS, Mac, Windows, whatever platform you're working on, we want to see that here on the show. Reach out to us through that contact form and let me know what you've got. And with that, it is time to put your lens cap back on and go edit some photos. Take care.